Decades may pass, and many cases may grow cold, but occasionally some are brought back into the light. Today's story is no exception. It is a tale of unexpected resolution after nearly 25 years of stagnation. This particular case revolves around Mandy Steingasser, a vibrant and sociable individual who cherished her outdoor adventures with her father. Together, they embarked on camping trips and road journeys as Mandy fearlessly embraced her adventurous spirit. On one occasion, she even encountered a ground squirrel, cradling it in her arms with affection. Unfortunately, the squirrel bit her, but such encounters were not uncommon for Mandy, who possessed a penchant for interacting with various creatures during her camping escapades. Her personality was enigmatic, and she often associated with individuals who carried an air of danger. When questioned about her choice of friends, she simply stated that she did not pass judgment on them. In the autumn of 1993, Mandy, a 17-year-old senior at North Tonawanda High School near Buffalo, New York, found herself at a crossroads. Although academically gifted, she had yet to solidify her career plans and subsequently enrolled at Niagara County Community College after graduation. Mandy exuded boundless energy and reveled in the thrill of parties and experimenting with alcohol. At times, her enthusiasm for such activities caused her to lose track of time, occasionally forgetting to return home. To ensure her safety, her parents established a set of rules for her evening outings. She was expected to adhere to a specific curfew, and if unable to do so, she was required to inform her parents or make her way home as swiftly as possible. On the 18th of September, 1993, a Saturday night, Mandy ventured out with her friends. Stacy, her boyfriend Brian, and Brian's acquaintance, Wayne. Stacy and Mandy had arranged a sleepover at the Steingassers' residence, with the understanding that they would return home by midnight. Both Mandy and Stacy were 17, while Brian and Wayne were a few years older. Wayne possessed his own apartment, making it convenient for them to procure alcohol. That evening, the group decided to visit a liquor store to purchase whiskey and rum before embarking on a journey from North Tonawanda to Buffalo in Wayne's car. Their intention was to attend a rock concert at a local bar, but unfortunately, the girls were denied entry due to their age by the bouncer. Brian and Wayne, being considerate, chose to stay with them as both girls were somewhat intoxicated. It was quite out of character for Mandy not to inform her parents about her whereabouts, especially since she had a curfew. After a short while, a car filled with men approached the group, accusing Brian and Wayne of harassing one of their neighbors. This led to a brief altercation, which frightened both Mandy and Stacy, causing them to flee in different directions. Shortly after, the sound of police sirens could be heard, prompting the men to hastily depart. Brian and Wayne desperately called out to the girls to return, but Mandy had vanished. She had fled out of fear that if the police found her, they would escort her back home, thus ruining her plan to sneak in without her parents' knowledge of her missed curfew. Mandy began her journey on foot towards her house, which was over a mile away. She headed north on Oliver Street until she reached a convenience store at the intersection of Fifth Avenue. It was there that a car pulled up beside her, and she leaned into the passenger seat before entering the vehicle. The driver was an acquaintance from her school who kindly offered to drive her home between 1:10 and 1:30 a.m. on September 19th. Regrettably, this marked the last time Mandy was seen alive. At 2:30 a.m., Stacy called Mandy's mother, Lorraine, inquiring whether Mandy had returned home. Lorraine became furious upon realizing that her daughter had not only missed curfew, but also failed to come home. Throughout the night, her parents anxiously awaited Mandy's arrival, but she never appeared. The following morning, they began reaching out to all of her friends. Fortunately, Mandy had a friend whose father was a police officer, and he promptly visited the Steingassers' residence. The commencement of the investigation unfolded, and the authorities proclaimed that she may have absconded, although Mandy's parents vehemently dismissed this notion as they possessed an intimate understanding of their daughter's character. Whispers began to circulate, insinuating that she had ventured southward to Florida alongside her lover, who had recently relocated there. However, on the 25th day of October in the year 1993, a fortnight following Mandy's inexplicable disappearance, two individuals engaged in a mushroom hunt stumbled upon a ghastly sight within the confines of Bond Lake Park. There, nestled upon the banks of Myers Lake, lay a set of severely decomposed human remains. It appeared as though an attempt had been made to submerge the lifeless body into the depths of the lake, only to be thwarted by the entanglement of foliage. Subsequent investigations confirmed the identity of the remains as belonging to Mandy. The forensic examination divulged a harrowing truth. She had met her demise through strangulation, her bra serving as the instrument of her demise. Furthermore, the report revealed the presence of 2 brain hemorrhages and a fracture near her frontal temple. The authorities' suspicions turned towards a fellow student from Mandy's school, the last person seen with her. Although the police publicly acknowledged the existence of a suspect, they refrained from disclosing his identity due to the dearth of evidence that would substantiate his culpability. Mandy Steingasser, a tender 17 years of age, was last sighted on the 19th day of September in the year 1993, approximately 1:30 in the morning, at the intersection of 5th Avenue and Oliver Street within the city of North Tonawanda. Her lifeless body was discovered on the 25th day of October in the same year within the confines of Bond Lake Park. The absence of substantial evidence caused this case to languish in obscurity for a quarter of a century, until the advent of new technological advancements that facilitated the examination of the culprit's DNA, which was found upon Mandy's remains. Finally, when the truth was unveiled, a plethora of evidence was amassed, paving the way for the district attorney to present a compelling case before the grand jury. On the 24th day of April in the year 2018, Josef Bellstadt was apprehended at his abode, mere moments after returning from his place of employment. It was his 43rd birthday, and he found himself facing a second-degree murder charge. Bellstadt maintained that, on September 19, 1993, he had indeed given Mandy a ride, but he insisted that he dropped her off in front of a church before stopping at a donut shop and returning home. However, witnesses contradicted his statement, claiming they saw Bellstadt picking up Mandy and then coming back. Furthermore, his friends revealed that he had asked them to provide false testimony in his favor. Despite Bellstadt's denial of these allegations, he was compelled to undergo a lie detector test. During the first attempt, he stormed out of the room due to the questioning's tone, but during the second test, his lies were exposed, confirming him as a liar. Another witness stepped forward, stating that Bellstadt had taken her to a secluded location weeks before Mandy's murder, shedding light on his possible motives. When investigators searched Bellstadt's car, they discovered 2 strands of pubic hair in the back seat, which they were unable to test in 1993. However, with the advancements in technology by 2018, the hair was confirmed to belong to Mandy. It was then established that Bellstadt had attempted to sexually assault her before becoming enraged and strangling her to death with her own bra. Finally, on March 9, 2020, his trial commenced, and the defense argued that he was being unjustly convicted without substantial evidence. Nevertheless, the jury presented numerous witnesses who testified about Bellstadt's behavior following Mandy's disappearance. They revealed that he had stopped attending school, to which Bellstadt claimed he had planned a trip to Canada that was ultimately cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances. However, all of these statements were proven to be lies, leading to his conviction for the murder of Mandy Steingasser. On January 14th, he received a 25-year prison sentence, despite his desperate attempts to maintain his innocence. "But I am not the person who killed Mandy. I am innocent," he maintained. On that fateful night of November 28, 1984, Gary Kurgan's life took a dark turn. After bidding farewell to the Night Spot Lounge in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, he vanished without a trace. The last person seen with him was Layla Erica Mullah, a young exotic dancer at the time. It was a puzzling disappearance, made even more suspicious by the discovery of his abandoned pink Cadillac in Metairie, Louisiana. Inside the trunk, a chilling sight awaited investigators, pools of blood hinting at a sinister fate. But let's not reduce Gary Kurgan to just a name in a cold case file. Born on May 1st, 1950, he was a man of substance. With his brown hair, captivating eyes, and a commanding presence at 5 feet 11 inches tall and 170 pounds, he left an impression wherever he went. His story was intertwined with that of his family, particularly his brother Ted Kurgan. Their bond went beyond mere siblinghood. They were partners in life and business. After their father's untimely passing, Gary stepped up as a father figure for Ted. This deep connection carried them through life, and they eventually became business partners in the fast food industry. Together, they embarked on a groundbreaking deal with Sonic to open multiple outlets in the New Orleans area, a bold move that showcased their entrepreneurial spirit. Gary's personal life was equally fulfilling. He was a devoted husband to Susie and a loving father to their son, Wade. Family meant everything to him, and he cherished his time at home. Ted, on the other hand, remained single, but their close-knit family dynamic remained unshaken. Their business circle expanded when Larry Tucker, another Sonic drive-in owner, and his daughter, Memory, joined forces with the Kurgans. They were all set to expand their Sonic empire into Baton Rouge, which led them to rent an apartment there for convenience. However, fate had a different plan for them. They ended up becoming roommates at Gary's place. Gary Kurgan was a man of ambition and accomplishment, and he never hesitated to indulge in the luxuries that his success brought him. On that fateful night of November 28, 1984, a phone call sparked excitement in the Kurgan household. Gary had just sealed a deal in Mississippi that promised a remarkable expansion for their restaurant business, marking a significant milestone. Overflowing with joy, he couldn't wait to share the news with his brother and business partner Ted. Gary was so eager to celebrate their triumph that he planned to head straight to Ted's house. Little did they know, the night would take an unexpected turn. Gary never arrived at Ted's place. As the hours ticked by, what was meant to be a night of jubilation turned into worry. Ted, who had dozed off while waiting, woke up to the realization that Gary hadn't shown up, an unusual occurrence considering Gary's reliability and their plans. The unease wasn't limited to Ted alone. Susie, Gary's wife, was overwhelmed with a gut feeling that something was terribly wrong. In a desperate attempt to trace Gary's whereabouts, Ted reached out to Larry and all the restaurant locations, hoping for any clue about Gary's presence or activities that night. After all, Gary had mentioned his intention to visit Ted to Larry, a man known for his dependability. The situation quickly escalated from confusion to a state of emergency, engulfing everyone close to Gary in a whirlwind of shock and disbelief. Larry, who had shared countless professional and personal moments with Gary, felt particularly shaken, describing the experience as a sudden disruption to their normal lives. Ted, now a man on a mission, tirelessly searched every nook and cranny of Baton Rouge where Gary might have gone. He scoured stores, eateries, and any place that Gary frequented, driven by the unsettling feeling that his brother had vanished without a trace. Ted, clinging to a glimmer of hope that the situation was a mere accident or misdirection, couldn't shake off the feeling of impending doom. He was well versed in the local terrain, understanding the risks of getting lost or encountering danger, especially in the desolate swamps of Louisiana. As both Ted and Gary were familiar faces in law enforcement, serving as commission deputies, Ted had a unique advantage with his connections and insights during the search. A breakthrough in the investigation came when a piece of paper with the name Erica was found. This crucial clue emerged in the Baton Rouge apartment shared by Gary and his business partner, Larry Tucker. Initially dismissed by Larry as insignificant, the note later proved to be a vital link to Gary's disappearance. The revelation hinted at a hidden aspect of Gary's life, hinting at a potential involvement with another woman unbeknownst to his loved ones. Motivated by this discovery, Ted's pursuit led him to a nightclub called the Hot Pot, where a case of mistaken identity unraveled. This encounter ultimately led Ted to the realization that Gary had been spotted with a dancer named Erica, who was now at the center of his frantic search. As the police pieced together the puzzle, they unraveled a shocking truth. Erica was actually Layla Mullah, a 19-year-old exotic dancer who lived with her boyfriend, Ronald Dunnigan. The urgency of the situation skyrocketed, prompting law enforcement to delve into their residence. Fueled by a mix of hope and dread, Ted insisted on being part of the operation, desperately clinging to the slim chance of finding Gary alive, even if he was in distress. However, the scene at the duplex shattered any glimmer of hope. The sight of blood and the violently damaged interiors sent chills down their spines. Ted recounted the horrifying details. Blood was splattered everywhere. The walls looked like they had been mercilessly beaten with a hammer. And in that moment, I knew deep down that Gary would never return. This gruesome discovery marked a significant and grim turning point in the search for Gary, shifting the narrative from a search and rescue mission to the horrifying possibility of a heinous crime. Finally, a breakthrough came when Gary's abandoned car was found in a business parking lot, its interior stained with blood. Ted couldn't shake off the haunting words of the crime investigator. The crime investigator said, "What you're looking at is someone died in the trunk of that car." The glimmer of hope that Gary's wife, Susie, and their community held onto was shattered when they discovered that Gary's brand-new Cadillac had been untouched for 5 days. As devout members of the Latter-day Saints, they turned to their church for comfort and support during this dark time. The harsh reality of Gary's fate became undeniable, leaving a bitter taste in everyone's mouth. Ted, the bearer of bad news, had to deliver the devastating truth to the family, extinguishing any remaining hope of Gary's return. The investigation took a sharp turn as all eyes focused on Layla Mullah, the last person known to have seen Gary. Mullah and her boyfriend, Ronald Dunnigan, quickly became the prime suspects, especially after blood was found in Gary's car and in Mullah's home that she shared with Dunnigan. The couple's sudden disappearance only fueled suspicions, leading law enforcement on a high-stakes chase from Baton Rouge to Las Vegas. In an unexpected twist, Mullah's attempt to blend into the bustling city of Las Vegas by acquiring an escort license led to her detention by local police, thanks to a warrant from Baton Rouge labeling her as a material witness. Meanwhile, Dunnigan, pretending to wait for Mullah near the sheriff's station, was also detained due to an unrelated bench warrant for a traffic violation. Ted, determined to crack the case wide open, swiftly arranged for detectives to be flown to Las Vegas on a private jet, navigating through legal loopholes and jurisdictional challenges. Under the intense pressure of interrogation, Mullah implicated Dunnigan in Gary's death, suggesting it was an accident, but acknowledging that Gary did not deserve to die. This revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation, but it was the discovery of Mullah's diary that truly turned the tide. Ted stumbled upon the chilling entries in the couple's Las Vegas apartment, revealing sinister plans to assault Gary. With this damning evidence, along with the physical clues and Mullah's testimony, the case against the couple seemed to solidify, bringing them one step closer to justice. However, the situation took a turn for the worse when a new district attorney, Brian Bush, made the decision to release Dunnigan and Mullah due to the absence of a physical body and the difficulties in prosecuting a murder case without one. This move, influenced by the limitations of forensic technology at the time and Mullah's legal tactics, left the Kurgan family and the prosecution team shocked and disheartened. Gary's body was never recovered, and he was declared legally deceased in 1986. The Kurgan case eventually went cold. Layla Mullah, also known as Erica in the past, had a life that seemed like a contradictory story. At the age of 19, she had an impressive CV as an honor student, a talented violinist, and a track star in her home state of Ohio. Despite her affluent background, Layla's life took a sharp turn as she battled substance abuse and embraced a rebellious, wild persona, leading her to escape from a rehabilitation center and seek refuge in Louisiana. In this new phase of her life, Layla chose paths far removed from her previous accomplishments, working as a stripper and a prostitute. Her living conditions reflected her tumultuous life, sharing a rundown duplex with Ronald Dunnigan, her much older boyfriend who lived a life filled with eccentricity and challenges. Ronald, who made a modest income as a part-time street performer, was a stark contrast to Layla's youth and beauty. Despite his lack of financial stability and education, Ronald held a dominant role in their relationship, serving as the protector that Layla craved in her chaotic world. Their unconventional bond was built on mutual dependence. Layla's nighttime activities funded their lifestyle while Ron provided a sense of security, albeit in a twisted and dysfunctional manner. Gary Kurgan, a regular client of Layla's, unwittingly got caught up in this volatile relationship. Layla Mullah and Ronald Dunnigan managed to evade capture for 3 decades. Their lives continued as if the past had never happened. However, the tide shifted with advancements in DNA testing and a reinvigorated cold case unit in Baton Rouge, determined to solve long-standing mysteries. Memory Tucker, connected to the case through her father, Larry Tucker, played a crucial role in reopening the investigation. Now working as a district attorney investigator, she launched a comprehensive review of the case, diligently tracking down old witnesses and utilizing modern forensic science. The confirmation of Gary's blood in the abandoned Cadillac's trunk through a DNA sample from his son Wade solidified the groundwork for a renewed prosecution effort. Ted Kurgan, who had tirelessly pursued Dunnigan and Mullah over the years, knew exactly where to locate them. Mullah had started a new life as a nurse in New York, while Dunnigan, still obsessed with Mullah, lived off a fraudulent disability claim in Louisiana. When the authorities finally made their move, Ted was there undercover, witnessing the arrest unfold. Mullah's arrest and subsequent interrogation peeled away the layers of manipulation and fear that had characterized her relationship with Dunnigan. She portrayed herself as a victim of Dunnigan's threats, implicating him as the mastermind behind Gary Kurgan's murder. Dunnigan's peculiar control extended to psychological manipulation, creating an ever-present watcher named Squeaky to keep Mullah in check. Her diary entries, intertwined with this delusion, provided bone-chilling insights into their twisted relationship and sinister activities. During her confession, Mullah divulged the gruesome details of the crime. According to her, Dunnigan had poisoned Gary, then methodically dismembered his body to dispose of it in a calculated and cold-hearted manner. Despite her initial reluctance to testify, the weight of the evidence and her own admissions during interrogation painted a horrifying picture of the murder. Armed with Mullah's testimony and the amassed evidence, prosecutors finally had the necessary leverage to ensure justice is served. The Mullah case reached a turning point on May 15, 2014, when she accepted a plea deal resulting in a 30-year sentence, while Dunnigan was sentenced to life. The Gary Kurgan murder saga, spanning 3 decades, finally saw a semblance of closure, bringing a mix of relief and sadness to his family. Wade Kurgan, Gary's son, expressed his feelings, stating, "It's a great relief to finally have some closure and justice served." Dana Cummings, Assistant District Attorney for East Baton Rouge Parish, praised Ted's unwavering determination in seeking the truth and ensuring justice prevailed. This recognition highlights the significant impact of individual perseverance in navigating the legal system. Ted Kurgan's response to the case's conclusion was one of pure relief and triumph. His words, "After 30 years, I finally got you, you son of a gun," captured the depth of his long-standing frustrations and the satisfaction of seeing justice served. Ted also added, "I've been angry for 3 decades now, and it hurts that she took my best friend away from me." Yet, for Ted, the story doesn't conclude with Mullah and Dunnigan's sentencing. He remains dedicated to locating his brother's remains, a journey that signifies not only a search for closure, but also an emotional path towards peace and resolution.